I'm the Director of Principal Consulting. Rich Slaughter is one of our marketing representatives who is also a board member of ACEDS. So he has graciously offered our time to do a presentation. Hopefully it's as much fun for you as it is for us. This is David Dugard. He's one of our senior eDiscovery AI AWS consultants. And Will Troy, who is a senior consultant in eDiscovery and the right side of the EDRM. And here we have Anita Talada, Esquire. Close enough. Oh, I'm sorry, your name's close enough? Close enough. And Daniel Abernoff, they're helping us today because, of course, our topic today is how the Grinch uses AI to steal your Christmas. So we wanted to have a little fun with this topic because we could stand up here and have Abid tell you about the intricacies of the different types of algorithms, and you'd be asleep in 5 minutes. So we're thinking we can get you at least 10 minutes before you fall asleep. So we have asked these two generous people to come up and play part of a role for us. So one will be Cindy Lou and one will be the Grinch. But I was going to assign it or ask them, but then I thought maybe the audience should have a chance. Cindy Lou? Uh-oh. Cindy Lou? Okay. Well, Grinch. That'll make it more fun. But just to be clear,
read all my lines.
Cindy, you have to be sweet and nice. And Grinch, come on. We need some attitude. It's going to be hard to tell them apart, though. Ah, this is going to make it easier.
Oh my gosh.
That's great.
This one's a little more difficult.
So for every camera being a phone, maybe
You don't have to wear this.
Every phone has a
It sure
camera.
looks good.
Well, in order to play a character.
Neither one of you have to wear it. Just keep it in front of you. We don't want anyone getting confused. So we wanted to have some fun with this topic today because it's a fairly dry topic. AI is probably everywhere around us. Companies are leveraging it for different purposes. Thank you. And what we want to talk about today is the higher level functional aspect of AI, what managers and senior level people need to understand about AI, the traps in AI, the issues associated with leveraging AI. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a quick overview of AI by Abid, and then we're going to talk about some topics in the AI environment associated with bias, security, transparency, federal budgeting for AI projects, which should put everybody to sleep, AI in records management and eDiscovery, the potential for abuse and accountability with eDiscovery, and then some examples of AI past and present in our popular culture. So I'm going to start off with Abid and just ask him to go over some of the basics at a high level of AI, some of the algorithms, how the data is used. And we're going to try to keep each segment to about 6 minutes. So if you start droning on, just go ahead.
All right. The AI, as you guys all know, is called artificial intelligence. Okay. What it really means is that anything that we human beings can do, interact with anything such, if the computer can do, that's what we all think about as artificial intelligence. And AI is not a new topic. It has been centuries-old topic. You can see the example, there's a calculator. That was artificial intelligence at that time, right? Now in these days, we have got so complicated and complex, and there are quite a few systems around. And everywhere you have the artificial intelligence applications, right? You know, Facebook has artificial intelligence and all others. So I'm going to, quickly go through some of the basic concepts and how the AI functions, and then we'll delve into where the eDiscovery implications or applications are going to be, and what we have been doing, as innovative for different crimes or for different, So the common item in AI really is that, it always needs the data. And data can be from many different areas, right? Like the data can be coming from sensors, data can be coming from, file shares, data can be coming from your cell phones, or anywhere. There are billions of data points depending upon that what AI application we are going to be working on. Okay, so that's a basic concept that it needs the data to work on, have intelligent action or insights, and moving forward. So the number one is usually when we talk about the algorithms, and I will talk about where the eDiscovery algorithms are really important, but regression is one of them. And what regression really means is that you have the output values based on the input features, right? So anything that you are inputting or what kind of features it has, you will have the similar kind of outputs, whatever you are asking that regression to do, right? So that's one of them. Instance-based. Instance-based is that any prediction using specific instances or examples that comes from your training data. You have a model, and you train that model, whatever the outcomes you want to have it will take action on it, and then it will give you the output on the basis of your training data. So that means the quality of the training data set is pretty important, right? So that's where you guys gotta concentrate on when you are predicting it, and your seed set data is pretty good. Quality of the seed set is very important. Okay? So the variation algorithm, that's a kind of, again, those are all different kind of algorithms, clustering and similarities. And then neural networks, that, indeed, many people are familiar with the neural networks, right? So that is a kind of a little bit advanced than our dummy machines in old days. That's what neural networks is. So I don't know that you guys know that what kind of different branches of AIs are. So neural networks, deep learning, and machine learning. Those are all different kind of branches within those algorithms that they use, either those algorithms that I just talked about or combination algorithms, right? So that's a kind of algorithm that's a kind of dry topic. I did not bring that humor into it.
It's not a funny topic. It's pretty clear. Did you want to add anything else, or are you ready to move on?
Go ahead.
Okay, so one of the concerns that you have when you're implementing any AI system is you want to make sure that you're free of bias. Because if the data is biased, your results will be biased. So I think this is where we bring in our honored guests here and ask them some questions. Thank you, Cindy Lou. And Grinch. Cindy Lou, do Who's have issues with bias?
No, we Who's love everyone. We believe AI will help us deliver rainbows and unicorns to people of all types, anywhere in the world.
And Grinch, are you bias-free?
It's Mr. Grinch to you, and yes, I don't charge anything for my bias. It's free.
Well, thank you, Mr. Grinch. That was a good job. Let's give it a hand. Don't worry, there'll be more accolades later. So we talked about the basics, and now we want to talk about some of the different forms of bias. There's sample bias, exclusion bias, observer bias. So Abhi, why don't you take it from there?
Yeah.
Give us some examples.
Just right after the basics, I just talked about the algorithms. The next topic really is the different kind of biases. As I said, all the systems, that artificial intelligence systems that we are talking about, they all need data. And when we are feeding the data could have a different biasness in it, right? So when you're choosing the data, that is pretty important. And there are all different kind of biases that Steve said that we are going to be talking about. The first one is the sample bias. Sample bias is simply that whatever the sample you have, is that good enough representative of the overall data set? You could have billions records, but out of billions records, you are choosing maybe 200 or 300 records. Is that a good representative? Are you eliminating some of the important concepts out of the when you are choosing that sample, right? So that's what it really all talks about, that, you know, do you have a sample biasness, right? And there are obviously methodologies that you can eliminate those biases by delving into the data quickly and see that what kind of relationship that data will have. So in this way, your model is good model to predict some good outcomes, and you have a real intelligent system going on. Okay. The next topic is exclusion bias. So the same, you know, it's when you're sampling it, you have a biasness, and then there are choices that you can make when you are sampling. And during the sampling, you can exclude some data as well, right? That's called exclusion bias. Right? When you are excluding data, think about it. Are you excluding anything important feature that could be a real representative of your outcome that you are really looking for, or action or insights that you really are looking for, right? If you exclude it up front, that means your system is not going to be intelligent enough. I would say that, you know, medium dummy system in terms of intelligence, right? So you gotta take that biasness out as well, right? So again, there are some different kind of you know, methodologies that you can take care of that exclusion biasness. Okay. The next one is a little bit also the observer bias. Sometimes we are observing people, looking at each other, and right on the first sight, we judge people. Oh, this person is going to be like that, right? Or this person is going to be like that. Those are kind of biasness in our data. Similarly, when you are making, in these days we are talking about the intelligent machines, right? Robots and everything. And when we are dealing with the human beings, we need to take that biasness out. We do not want to have observer bias, right? So there should not be any prejudice. You know, sometimes you are training a system like, you know, you are looking at a camera, you are training your camera to take some actions, and if you are training your camera in the night, basically you are already discriminating it, because your camera could have a little more brightness, or, you know, different kind of brightness in the daytime. So your representative data is not good. Your camera is not going to be giving you the good insights, right? So you need to train your camera intelligence system in the day and night, you know, so that, you know, you can have a good representative system or action. The next one is prejudice bias. The prejudice, again, that has to do with the cultural things, right? Sometimes we have, you know, everybody has a different kind of culture. We are, you know, hard part of the world, right? And different kind of culture bring a different kind of biases. We need to think about them. Sometimes you can just simply ask the other person that, you know, maybe your colleague, can you look at it, you know, help you guys eliminate those cultural prejudice or biasness from the data so that your system is good. So those are all different kind of biasness in the system. I am not going to go through the measurement biases, because I don't think the measurement biases are going to be more applicable to eDiscovery board, but there are obviously, because we are talking about many different kind of systems, and there are measurement biases as well. Okay.
Thank you. It's funny because I'm pretty old. When I took the SATs, there was a question on it about sailing. Well, I wasn't from a rich family from Newport, so I had no idea what the heck was on a sailboat. I got those questions wrong. That's bias. There's no reason there should be a question like that on the SAT, right? Unless you're training to be a sailor. So that's an example of things from our past that are biased. So the next thing we're going to talk about is security in AI systems. Now, can you imagine if you have an AI system and it gets hacked, and you use it for a particular purpose? I'm not even going to go into the military applications, because that, of course, is frightening. But just an everyday system that's open to the public that gets hacked and starts putting out bad information. So, I mean, we really have to go to our honored guests again and see what they think. Cindy Lou, you don't have to put that on, but I want you to.
It's for the character, all right?
It's for the character. What did Who's do to protect their security?
We don't have those issues. We're special. Our doors are always open. We want to use AI so we can deliver rainbows and unicorns to people of all types, anywhere in the world.
And Grinch, I'm sure your security is tight.
It's Mr. Grinch to you. And yes, the only thing tighter than my security is my shoes. And I'm leveraging AI to identify those pesky who's most likely to provide easy pickings.
Yes, easy pickings. Indeed, how do we prevent easy pickings?
Yeah, security. It's a pretty important topic, particularly in today's world, when we are talking about all the hybrid and cloud and all different environments, and people are jumping here and there, and all different kind of insights, and thinking about the security inside out is pretty important. When I say inside out, really means that your admin can go wrong, right? So that's what you need to think about, what we can do about all different kind of security aspects. It should be on the database, it should be on the applications, it should be on everywhere. And security really starts from the bootstrap level. When you are just clicking on a button and turning on, that's where the security should really start from, okay? And all the way. So there are many different ideas and many different methods that you can implement when you are implementing the artificial intelligence. Obviously, artificial intelligence is taking decisions on behalf of human beings, whatever you have fed into. And when they are communicating it, you want to make sure that those systems do not get hacked on any level. Not on the system level, not on the application communication level, not on the database level, not on any other communication channels, so you need to think about them. So what it really means when it comes to the artificial intelligence system security. So there are all different kinds of threat modeling. What those threat modelings are. So there could be a threat on the web, right? And people can just keep knocking on your, internet, on your web, and that could be down. If you are Amazon, you are selling billions of items, your web is going to be down, just because somebody is brute forcing and attacking you, right? You need to think about how you can eliminate it. Are you deploying that model to eliminate those and just, forget about those requests from those brute forces, right? So how you can do that's pretty important. I'm not going to delve into in this kind of, because we have a limited time, but there are obviously methodologies how you can eliminate those threat modeling. Then you need to utilize the foundational security functions. What foundational security functions are? There are many components of foundational security functions. Means you have on the boot level, then you have on the application layer level, then you have on the database layer level, then you have many different methodology on a user level, then you have the role-based communications level, then you have a TLS security level. So you have all different kind of security. But again, if you have not deployed those proper models into your security, then your system is not going to be secure enough, right? So that's pretty important to look at.
So one of the things you do is check that system regularly, right?
Yeah, the management of your keys and master keys and your user keys is pretty important. And rotating of them is, becomes more comprehensive in these days, particularly when everything is going cloud and you have no clue how your environment has gone bigger. From one server to all of a sudden you are 1,000 servers.
Thank you. So the next issue or matter for consideration is the concept of transparency. When you create AI, people have to understand at some level how it works so they can feel confident that the results that they're getting are accurate. And in that process, there are impediments to it. There's a lot of IP-based AI, so some companies don't want to share that. But without the transparency, at least within your own organization, you can't verify that something is truly working the way you had intended. You cannot have a black box. The programmers can't get a pizza and code all weekend and do not know what they did. I'm an ex-programmer, I can say. So, what's transparency without getting the opinion of the two most knowledgeable people about the Grinch? Cindy Lou, how do you know your AI solution will work? Is the AI engine easily understood?
We know everyone in the world is wonderful, and we let them all know exactly how our AI works to deliver rainbows and unicorns to people of all types anywhere in the world.
Rainbows and unicorns.
All over the
And
world.
Grinch, your AI engine, is it easily understood?
It's Mr. Grinch to you. Are you kidding? My dog wrote the AI algorithms, and I don't speak Cocker Spaniel. All I care about is understanding the Who's AI engine so I can identify those pesky who's most likely to provide easy pickings.
Now, I expected the Cocker Spaniel to get any action. No? Okay, that one hits good. Next Christmas, you're not saying that, Grinch. So, transparency, a beat again, and don't worry, we'll have a chance to speak. All of you worry about Will. So, the B, transparency, the pillars of trusted AI, what are they?
Yeah, the transparency in AI and even overall world is pretty important aspect as well. What it really means is, you must guys have heard about GDPR as well. That's a pretty hot topic. And recently, California just passed a law. I don't know if you guys are aware of it or not. So that's going to be more and more into our lives. We got to get ready. Okay, what does that mean? That what are the 4 pillars of our trusted AIs and how those can be implemented? Number 1 is the fairness. Is your AI system fair? Right? There is no biasness. We just talked about the sampling data and everything, right? Or different kind of biases. That's what it means. Is your system fair? There is no kind of biasness into your system. The second one is robustness. Is your AI system robust enough, means secure enough? There is no tampering or compromising anything such on any layer, either API level or data level or communication level, anywhere, right? So is that robust enough? So explainability. So is your AI system explainable? Is it really giving you the decisions or suggestions that can be understood to everyday person, right? So is it a good explainable system that AI is able to explain to you guys or you guys can understand? Not like programmers or super users that can understand. You guys need to understand as functional people, is it explainable? That's what that one of the pillars. The 4th one is lineage. Lineage really means that does your system include the development, deployment, and maintenance so they can be audited throughout, right? Audit is pretty important as well. It is not only an eDiscovery world. I think it goes beyond eDiscovery world in order that all the validation and QA rules and regulations were built on the audit trails and everything, right? Particularly in the pharma and the healthcare industries, they are pretty familiar with those validation and audit trails, right? Every click is audited. Those are the major pillars of transparency in AI.
Thank you, Abhi. And of course, what good is AI if your employees don't know how to use it? And we've had experience with some of our clients whose people weren't trained properly to use search engines, to use some of the eDiscovery tools. And they will say, I don't want to use it, it doesn't work. And a lot of it comes down to training. Because if you aren't trained properly, you don't know how to leverage a tool. And the example I like to give is, if I give Abhi a hammer, that does not make him a carpenter. He can swing the hammer, but he can't necessarily build something. So people must be trained properly. Employee knowledge is so important. So Cindy Lou, who gets trained in AI? And do they know how to apply its principles?
The Who's are experts at AI. Every Who is trained from an early age to know exactly how our AI works to deliver rainbows and unicorns to people of all types, anywhere in the world.
I guess you've heard that before. He did get the easier part, I will say that. And Grinch, do you provide training for your AI?
It's Mr. Grinch to you. I told you already, it's written in Cocker Spaniel. Nobody but my dog understands it. Anyway, all I care about is understanding the least well-trained who's, so I can identify those pesky who's most likely to provide easy pickings.
Easy pickings. Easy pickings. Employee knowledge. Will, I believe you're up on this one.
I am, thank you.
Employee training.
So, much of the literature that exists suggests that the challenges for companies employing AI will be either finding the people who will build and make AI, and alternatively, those who will work with it. As Steve mentioned, they're improperly trained. Their first reaction will be to throw their hands up. But perhaps the message underneath it is that I'm going to be replaced by AI. And part of the education process for companies will be to underscore the possibilities that are available to these employees to change their skill sets to work with AI rather than be supplanted by AI. And again, that's incumbent upon companies to educate each of their employees about how their roles will change and not be cut. So the impetus is really for those companies to be, in order to be successful, to educate and get buy-in from those folks who are to be part of your company, whose training, previous training, also includes your company culture, things that are soft skills, but important skills as well as the ethics of working in AI. I think we'll touch on that later.
So you see that was kind of a short topic, just as short as the training is in most companies. Forward process to train people. But what we've learned through our experience with various clients is that when the end user's not trained properly, they can't leverage the tools they're given. And when the tools aren't leveraged properly, they don't want to use them. And when they don't want to use them, it slows down the process. It puts you back into a mode of less productivity and even to some extent resentment because the tool doesn't work. Why are you making me use it? So we focus a lot at our clients as SMEs and different tools, because we've worked with a lot of different eDiscovery and search tools, helping the clients learn how to use the tools. So the next topic we have is really relevant because we're in DC, the center of all cash in the world. The bureaucracy in the US is very interested in AI, leveraging AI. And there's some giggles there. Feel free to share your experience if you'd like.
I was laughing about the giggles comment.
Oh, okay. So giggles on giggles, so that's interesting. Giggles squared. So we wanted to put this topic in today because we're in Washington, D.C. When we think about the different topics, whenever we come to a location that has a particular concentration of industry, we would talk about that. So if I went to Silicon Valley, I might talk to something that's relevant to them. Here in DC, the procurement process. So you want to sell your AI to the government. One of the issues is the government is used to buying products fully developed or services fully laid out. And I think we haven't gone into the details, but AI is an iterative process. So the real question is, how does Cindy Lou Who and the Grinch sell to the government? So Cindy Lou, do you understand how the federal budgeting process works and how you would sell AI to the government?
Well, we use our AI to know exactly how to deliver rainbows and unicorns to people of all types, anywhere in the world. Don't the feds want this?
I would think so. And Grinch, the federal budgeting.
It's Mr. Grinch to you. I won't ever sell anything to the feds unless it's junk and doesn't work. We have to identify those pesky federal agencies most likely to provide easy pickings. I bet no one there speaks Cocker Spaniel.
Oh, come on, the third time? The third time we stole it, not even a giggle? We got more giggles when I said federal procurement. So, federal procurement process. Bill, I believe that we've assigned that dismal topic to you.
You did, and I think that the giggles already, or that will be to come, speak to how arcane and complicated that process is. Generally, when you understand things that you're buying, such as widgets. But I think, as Steve pointed out, when you're buying something that's an unfinished product that requires iterative learning and iterative processes, I'm not certain that there is a propensity to jump head into that to making that kind of purchase. So again, as far as making folks understand the purpose of or the benefit of using such AI, if I were to go out and procure AI, what's a public benefit? You know, what is the value that we're going to bring to the population in obtaining an AI product? So that should be part of the RFP process. So ask your contractors or your consulting companies to address those concerns, because again, to get public buy-in is I would think that more than half the job of getting approval for these types of requests. Obviously, interagency cooperation, right? To be able to, I would think in every process that's super important, but I imagine the procurement process too, to get interagency kind of cooperation and buy-in is another thing, part that would be important in the procurement process. And if you're interested, I've got another 15 suggestions with 4 or 5 subcategories for each of those 15 that I'm happy to share with you later, but at 3:45, the government procurement process should be as short as possible.
See, we only have optimists here. Just on that note, we have a reference list, and if you put your business card in here, we will send an email to anybody who wants the references. We have about 20 different websites that you can go to and get more information on these topics. It's really a self-study program because all the items that we're discussing today pretty much came from different places. There's no one document that has all this stuff in it. So you go to different places to find out this information, and then you consolidate it for yourself to understand it. And we're more than happy to share the Cindy Lou food script with everyone. But it is copyrighted. So one of the items that's next, and this is important, and it is difficult to have a procurement conversation unless there's government people in the room and they can tell you what they think. So we glossed over that a little bit because it's very dense, but there's actually one of the links here for an intergovernment NGO that created a document for worldwide use, and it's in there, and it's very informative, and that's what he's talking about with all these items. We want to keep it moving, so now we're going to talk about AI and records management and eDiscovery, something that we do a lot of, and whatever we do pales in comparison to what the Grinch and Cindy Lou do, clearly. So Cindy Lou, you leverage AI for records management and eDiscovery?
Well, we use our AI to know exactly who we previously delivered rainbows and unicorns to ensure people of all types anywhere in the world get them.
You're so wonderful. And Grinch, AIs in records management, and
It's Mr. Grinch to you. My Cocker Spaniel handles all records management and eDiscovery. I'm pretty sure everything is stored in a secure underground vault with all his dog photos. Anytime I want something, he can dig it up.
oh, come on. That's the 4th one, still not a giggle.
I think the problem is that I don't believe Max is Cocker Spaniel.
Oh, what was it?
Misidentified Max.
Oh.
The AI system was supposed to identify.
There's supposed to be some bias.
I'm blaming the programmer. He was a terrier? I don't know what he was. I just thought Cocker Spaniel sounded funny. Next year I'll try poodle.
You like the sound?
But poodle might be funny. It
The
sounds
bolt's not
funny.
underground, it's not gonna sound.
Yeah.
The important thing is that we're discussing the kind of dog the Grinch had.
Can we just call Jim Carrey too?
Jim Carrey might know.
Yeah, he might know.
So, without any further dog talk, records management and eDiscovery, I believe. Adi, you're going to talk about eDiscovery, and Will talk about records management?
Yes. So the eDiscovery, and you guys all know that it is fascinating experience, and we are collecting a lot more data as we used to be, and now we are having I will say hundreds, not thousands of different data points to collect from, right? And that's the collection really is important. And I think what we are thinking overall is that how we can reduce the cost on every aspect: collection, processing, and indexing, review and analysis, and then on the review, which is a bigger cost for everybody, right? And that how the AI tools can help you guys eliminate some of the costs. Obviously, you cannot go 100% elimination, but some of the costs. So what are the different kind of methodologies that you can deploy? Can you deploy 100% AI, or can you deploy a semi-AI, or can you deploy just like 20-80% rule, depending upon the situations of how you are dealing with. So in terms of collection, we know that our future is going to be AI. We know that. There is no debate on this one, and we're going to go frictionless on that, right? And we are going to that either model. In the future, in the past, actually starting from 2012 onward, it has been mostly AI was deployed on the reviewer side of the model, like the review and intelligence, review and analysis, some people say, right? That's where the AI is was deploying. But in current environment, or in the future, it's going to be much more earlier. We are going to be deploying AI to the collection side, indexing side, right? As far as we can eliminate some of the data to reduce the cost, so that reviewer cost is down and everywhere else the cost is automatically down. So we need to be careful on all aspects of data mining, right? Data mining is happening everywhere, right? But we need to mine the right data versus collect whole garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. That's the whole model has been. How many people have deployed the AI on the collection level, particularly on the PC level, right? I will not see even a single hand. But you guys need to think about what your company methodology and templates are, and how you can deploy those on the PC collection level, right? You can, right off the bat, I can tell you 90% of the data on your C drive is useless. It's not relevant to your eDiscovery. 90%, okay? You can go check it out. You can eliminate it by deploying the AI library, at the collection level. Similarly, there are many different layers and levels or algorithms that you can deploy on many different levels to get rid of that data as early as possible. So at the end, you literally should have 1 or 2% of the data where you started from. If you are not on the 2% mark, you are not pretty efficient on the eDiscovery. I can tell you, I have a 12 years experience in eDiscovery, and I have eliminated every layer, deduplication. I have experience deduplication. 40+% is the duplicated documents. And when you collect one custodian, you will find out, right? So also you need to see early on the relationship between from one custodian to the other custodian. You have collected their emails, right? You need to see who this custodian has been talking to, right? You might want to put other people on hold early on, so this way the data is not destroyed and you have a proper eDiscovery. So you gotta think about what could be the future use cases. There are so many. I can think of. I have been basically doing the development as well as the managing the whole eDiscovery part. So I can tell you there are so many opportunities in this environment that we have not been using, and we are losing big time.
Thank you. Will, you have a minute and a half.
I do. Well, AI is record
Talk
keeping,
fast.
right? The bottom line is we want organizations want to save money, make their employees more productive, right? So currently, it's most likely restricted to machine learning. So machine learning meaning, hey, let's weed out duplicates. Let's detect metadata fields to organize our data a little bit better. How about smooth over the quality of our data that exists? So if it was inputted by humans, let's try to fix some of those errors. So those are currently probably the most common uses for AI in records management. And maybe the question that everyone here who's a records manager or in records management might be, how do I, what are my first steps? What do I do in order to push this ball down down the line a little bit? So maybe take an inventory. Where is my data stored? Can I compute in its current location? Or do I need to move it? And if so, how am I going to do that? And then think further down the line and find out, am I looking for what specific content am I needing to organize? How am I going to protect that content, as Abhi was saying a little bit earlier? And then make some decisions about how I want my users to interact with that AI. Is it searchable and voice activated like Siri, and how transparent? Again, you were speaking to some points earlier. How transparent can it be, or should it be?
So we're going to have another presentation specifically on those two topics, but we chose the Grinch today because it was closer to the end of the day, and you're probably tired of listening too closely, except to the Grinch part. I'm going to, just so you guys know, I'm going to do the abuse and accountability piece, just to speed it up because we only have about 8 minutes left.
Three.
8 minutes. My AI machine said 8 minutes. So there's the potential for abuse, and then there's the concept of accountability. I was at a meeting at DoD Industry Day. I went to a presentation on AI and its application in robotics, and obvious, I don't have to go into any more details, weapons. And I asked a question. I said, who's accountable when the machine fails? And the answer was, from the professor, the programmer. That's exactly how he said it. There is no clear accountability for AI in every application yet. It's one thing to be collecting records. It's another thing to be shooting things and blowing things up. So this is an important topic. I want to run through it fairly quickly. But before I do need to ask our honored guest. Cindy Lou, do you think AI could be used in an unethical or devious manner?
Not by any who. We're special and wonderful. We only use our AI to know exactly how to deliver rainbows and unicorns to people of all types anywhere in the world.
And Grinch, the abuse.
It's Mr. Grinch to you. Abuse is my middle name. Actually, it's Norbert. Now you know why I'm so mad. What good is AI if you can't use it to abuse authority, steal things, and hurt innocent people? Why, that would be wasting perfectly evil AI.
Evil AI. What a concept. So I'm going to run through this fairly quickly. Isaac Asimov stated the 3 rules of robotics, 3 laws of robotics. They were in the iRobot movie, if anybody saw them. It basically comes down to you can't kill people, you can't hurt yourself, and you can't violate any of the laws prior to it. I'll read them. Robot now injure a human being or through action allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey the orders given it by the human being, except where such orders would conflict with the first law, in other words, you can't order him to kill it. A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. The second law is being violated on a regular basis in the military. They're designing things to kill people. So the second law doesn't even apply. Now, you can make the case that our enemies are doing that. We're not making a moral judgment on it. We're simply pointing it out. Things are not what they appear to be. Now, South Koreans have a robotic ethic charter from 2012. Again, there's references in here. I'm not going to go through it. It has manufacturing standards, the rights and responsibilities of users and owners. And the reason we include this with AI is the next step with AI is, of course, thinking robots. And the rights of robots, which I thought was interesting. The right to exist without fear of injury or death for robots, kind of interesting. And then there's the 10 principles of robot law, and robots must serve mankind. That's from Japan. We have to wrap up because Monica's very diligent with her. Can you turn your watch back 5 minutes? I wanted to go through some examples of AI from the past in our movie industry. Modern Times was a movie in 1936, Charlie Chaplin. The feeding machine malfunctioned and jammed food in his mouth. There's an example of AI not working. 2001, Space Odyssey. HAL failed. HAL was supposed to be smarter than anything alive. iRobot, we all know that. AI, the movie. People have seen AI, that was the movie with that Oscar fellow. And Sleeper had some strange things in it, which I'm not going to go into. That was the Woody Allen. China is using AI with the visual aspects that he was talking about to identify potential criminals. This is Minority Report, people. This is Minority Report. They are getting ready to jail people because they might commit a crime. So AI is very important in your life. It's going to be more important to your children and grandchildren. And it's important for us not to get tangled up in the actual technology and think it's so wonderful without having some mechanism or some reality of our own of how we manage it and control it. And we're going to skip the one section because I think you guys feel like you've spoken enough. You can take it home and read it. So I have to finish up with this. How does the Grinch leverage AI to steal my Christmas? Well, he uses the different AI models. The regression model, the Grinch uses property location and size to predict real estate value and the value of those easy pickings. Instance-based, the Grinch uses his memory-based learning algorithms to remember which who he robbed each year, a database of theft. Regularization, that's a tough one. Those techniques are used to reduce the error by fitting a function appropriately on the given training set and avoid overfitting. This is too complex for the Grinch. The Grinch shoes are too tight to use this thing. Decision trees. The Grinch will determine how to go house to house and steal your stuff. Bayesian algorithms. Does anyone want to define that right now? Last year's houses that produced the most booty will be hit again. Clustering and similarity. While all the who's are similar, they'll focus on those clustered in the rich part of the Neural networks. The Grinch knows the best Christmas decorations patterns indicate the best place to rob. Deep learning. The Grinch has a large database of who's. He knows who's who and who to rob. Each Christmas, he turns nice. But next year, he's back robbing the who's again. Perhaps the who's need to leverage AI to protect themselves from the Grinch. I have a minute left. I think you're being generous. Thank you all. We wanted to make this fun and interesting, keep you awake. And I want to thank how about a hand for our lovely. I offer this valuable gift, but all I have is a hat. And if you want that, we have something else.
I have a 4-year-old daughter, so this is perfect.
There you go.
I'll be like, where'd you get this?
Would you like something other than this? Is that a yes or no? I can't tell if that's a yes or no.
I'll take it.
All right.
For the happy hour.
If you want it, you gotta put your business card in there.
Right here,
We can
right here.
send you all the details. Thank you so much for your
I'm
time.
good.
And, Rich, I never got around to wrapping these off, so I'll have to give one to Monica. There you go.
Yeah, Monica will take
There you
it.
go, Monica. I'm too lazy to go that. Thank you.